Okay, everybody, evening. Good evening from the city of. Good evening from the city of Abuja. No, give me that stuff. Mm, Thank you. I'm just going to power up this device so that we can be safe and sound. Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening again. I'm hoping to see more persons join us. I can only see two persons that are live. So if you are here, please drop in the comment section. Let me know that you are here and we will go ahead and start. Okay. Good evening, evening. I'm trying to see my chat, but I cannot connect to the chat. So I don't know. Um, Uncle Joshua, if you're on the call, help me check out and confirm whether in my messages, but I cannot. And so I can only see two persons here. If you're here, welcome. Thank you for being here. I want to see if I can allow the chat to come up. Three persons. There are quite a number of persons on the WhatsApp group. So let me be sure that we have sent out enough information on the WhatsApp group to get as many persons as possible to join us here as we begin. Tonight is going to be interesting. It's parent clarity session day one, and we're discussing how to prepare your teenagers for success in 2026, how to prepare your teenagers to thrive. And if you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Chidozie Eze. I am a teens coach and author of a number of books for teenagers and young people. And I am the founder of Teen Success Academy. All of that is not as important as what we are here to discuss tonight. So I will get right into the conversation. I'm going to share my slide in a moment. I'm going to share my slide in a moment. So if you give me the next 60 seconds, I'll be able to load the slide so that we can talk and keep the time. I want this session to be under 1 hour so that I don't keep you here for too long. Please confirm that you can hear me and you can see me clearly. Okay, apologies, please. I think we had a break in transmission. I'm so sorry. Let me be sure here that everything is set. Okay, I can see Felicia. Thank you. God bless you too. Please, if you're here, let me know that you are here. Put in the comment section. Tell me your name and where you are joining from, and I will, so that I can let's just do that to get back into the session. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was disconnected all this while, so we're just going to restart this session. So let me see. Let me see. Names and location. Where are you joining from? My name is Chidozie and I am talking to you from the city of Abuja. So let me know where you're joining from so that we can have this session beautifully here. Okay, I'm only seeing Felicia. I don't know if there's somebody else. I can see the number of persons, but only Felicia I'm seeing in comment section. And then I can see Elizabeth. Elizabeth, God bless you too. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. If there's another person here, please tell me in the comment section. Let me know that you are here. And I will say hello to you while we get started. So before that break in transmission, I was about to pull up my slide so that um we can go right ahead into the conversation for today. So that is coming up and there you have it. So today we are discussing, we are going to start with why what you are doing. So Joshua is joining from Abuja. Hi Joshua, good evening. Thank you. Thank you. Um I'll just turn off this our beautiful soundtrack. Okay, so that everybody can follow correctly. Okay, so thank you everybody. Thank you for being here. What we are discussing for tonight is, as you have seen it on the slide, why what you're doing does not seem to be working, especially with your teenagers. Why what you're doing does not seem to be working um, any longer. Maybe it was working a few years ago when your child was 9. Um, maybe it was working a few years ago when your child was 9. Maybe it was working when your child was 6. And all of a sudden, they are now teenagers and nothing seems to nothing seems to be working. Nothing seems to be working. Why is the question? Why? Why is the question? Why? 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 Why parenting feels harder than ever. And it's not your fault. The that's the point I would like to start off with. That it is not your fault. It is not your fault. That's what I'm going to open with that. I'm taking my time to see Uncle Joshua help me again. I think that let's be sure that everybody is able to connect. I have seen 4 persons on the call, but that's less than, maybe I don't know how many percent of how all the people that we are supposed to connect with on this call. I want to make sure. I know that there will be a replay. So if you're here, I encourage you to stick around. I know that there will be a replay, but from experience, don't bank on replays. Don't bank on replays. It's better that you are here in the live session and we're talking and you can follow the conversation so that if you have questions, we'll answer your questions live on the call. I will still be available to take some questions in the WhatsApp group, but it is best that you are here with us. It is best that you are here. So please be here. I just want to be sure one more time that all those who needed to get information about this have got it. So we'll get right into it. Why is it that some things that worked before no longer seem to be working? Let's Let me be sure. Okay, so now you can see my face while you're seeing the slide, and we can have a conversation together. All right. So the reality of today is that parenting did not get harder because it got worse. That's the reality. Um, it got harder because the environment has changed. Because the environment has changed. So that's where I want to begin, by removing something heavy from your shoulders as a parent. I want to remove that load in quote of guilt from your shoulder as a parent, because parenting, like I put on the slide, did not change, did not get harder because you became a worse parent. You didn't become a worse parent, you didn't become a bad parent. Many parents quietly believe that, maybe I've lost it, maybe I'm failing, maybe there's something I'm not getting right. Yeah, maybe there's something that you're not getting right, and that's a conversation we want to have tonight. But the truth is simpler than that. It may be more relieving for you. Parenting got harder because the environment has changed. That is the truth. The environment has changed. What used to work a while ago no longer works. The rules have shifted. The pressures have multiplied. Now, pressure has multiplied both for you as a parent and for your child as a teenager. Pressures have multiplied, and I'm going to discuss what those pressures are as much as we can take them today. I'll share with you. The world that your teenager is growing up in is not the same world that you were trained for as an adult. You were trained for a different kind of experience, you were trained for a different kind of civilization than what is currently obtainable in your teenager's world. So I'm here to help us to understand that from the perspective of your teenager. Maybe I should also put a caveat. This conversation tonight is not about correction. It's not about, because I'm not a parent coach. That's not my job. That's what I want to put out. I'm not a parent coach. That is not my job. My job is to help teenagers understand themselves, build clarity, consistency, and a discipline for success. That is what I do. But in the last 2 or 3 weeks, from the 23rd of December up till somewhere around 5th, which was a few days ago, of January, I have had the privilege of talking directly with over 900 parents. I've had to speak with over 900 parents, and the challenges that I've seen in this season alone, I don't do that all the time, to open up my schedule to speak with as many parents as possible. I work with a group of parents and a group of teenagers within our community. But towards the end of the year, I opened up that channel, and in in the space of 2 weeks, I had the chance to speak with over 900 parents, and I see the trouble, I see the challenge, I see what's going on, I see the misunderstanding, and that's why we decided to create this session. We created this session to give you feedback. So this is not a parent coaching session. I don't coach parents. If you desire coaching for yourself as a parent, I can point you to where you're going to get coaching. And that place is the Intentional Parent Academy. What we do at Teen Success Academy is to help teenagers build the systems and structures and processes that help them arrive at where they are going. So understand me from that perspective when I share the things that I share on this call tonight. The reality is that your parenting has gotten harder, not because you became a bad parent overnight, not because you got worse in your parenting, but essentially the environment within which we are operating has changed dramatically. The environment where you were raised is very different from the environment that your teenager is growing up. And so when the environment changes, you will need a strategy that adjusts with that environment. If your strategy does not change, frustration is inevitable. If your strategy does not change, frustration is inevitable. Okay, now I'm beginning to see the chat. Hello, everybody. Somebody is joining us from Port Harcourt. Um, Ene is joining us also. I'm seeing the chats now. So earlier in the call, the network was not allowing me see a number of chats. Hi, Ene. Good evening, ma'am. So let's continue. Please, Uncle Joshua, help me open the chat for open the group chat so that other people can comment. I want to be sure. Maybe if one or two persons goes to the group and tells them that we have started, it will also encourage more persons to come on live. So let's talk to all the persons and let them know that we are live. I was saying that if you do not change strategy in a new environment, something is going to happen. You frustration will set in. Frustration for the parent, frustration for the frustration for the parent, and frustration for the teenager. Frustration for the parent, frustration for the teenager. And that's why we're here. We want to help you to clarify all of those. So is my slide moving? Yes, it is. Um, good intentions. Good intentions. Good intentions is a myth. There's a myth about it. So good intention is valid, but there's a myth about good intention. The myth is that most parents love their children deeply. In fact, there are very few parents I've interacted with that can say, I'm not sure, maybe because of the circumstances surrounding the birth of a child, then you can begin to question the love of the parent towards their child. But most parents love their children deeply. The issue is the fact that love is not enough, love is not sufficient. Love is necessary, but it is not sufficient. The necessity of love is valid, but the sufficiency of love is not true. Love is not sufficient because the intentions alone do not create results. And that's a very uncomfortable truth for a lot of adults, a lot of parents. How can you tell me that I love my, when in relationship circles, I've heard the argument whether love is enough to build a healthy family, or love is enough to build a healthy relationship. And people argue love is enough, God is love, and all of those kind of things. The truth is that as necessary as it is not sufficient. Many parents are doing the right things emotionally, but you are expecting the results that only structure can bring. There is a level of result and outcome in the life of a teenager that can only be produced in the presence of structure. Intentions do not raise children. It's like saying, I I feel like eating egusi soup. Your intentions are not going to cook the soup. Somebody has to go to the market, buy the ingredients. Somebody has to walk into the kitchen and make the meal. Intentions don't make any meal. Intentions is good or are good. Intentions are good, but they don't deliver the results. Systems deliver the result. Processes deliver the result. Structures deliver the result. You need fire, you need a gas cooker or stove or whatever you use to make your meal. You need the ingredients for the food. You need a pot. So because even if you gather all the ingredients, you're not going to make the food. You're not going to make the meal in space. You need a pot. So all of those are structures and systems and processes. You can intend for your teenager to be disciplined, you can intend for your teenager to be focused and be respectful, but intention alone does not create the outcome. Outcomes come from design, not desire. I read a book. Yes, ma. Thank you. Sorry, I'm going to get right ahead. Others can join later and they'll catch a replay. I think that's the right thing to do. Thank you for the feedback. Intentions alone will not create the result. I read a book many years ago. Sometime like many years ago, the book was titled "Living by Design," living life by design, and the argument is that you cannot produce results just by desiring the result alone. I know we live in a very religious society where there is a lot of false teaching around confessing something, confession. When you finish confessing, you cannot confess your way into becoming a doctor, you have to go and register in school and train for a minimum of 7 years before you can get the license to practice as a doctor. You cannot confess that thing out. So there is a place for desiring it, there's a place for intention, good intention, but there is a place for systems, like I said, and structures and processes. There's a place for design, and that we will get into. That's what I wanted to say about the myth of good intentions. But let's continue. Beyond good intentions, what else is there? Beyond good intentions, teenagers are under a lot of pressure, and I've listed four of them that I will discuss tonight. Teenagers are under a lot of pressure. There is identity pressure. There's the pressure of forming an identity at that stage of their lives. There is the pressure of digital saturations. There's the pressure of digital saturations. There's the pressure of emotional overload and cultural confusion. Teenagers, to understand your teenagers behavior as a parent, you must understand all of these pressures. Today's teenagers are forming identity in a world that never turns off. So when you were growing up as an adult, you would remember that when you were growing up, TV used to come on by 4 p.m., sometimes in some places 5, but I think the general rule was 4 p.m. TV came on by 4, and by that 4 o'clock you now come on TV. You first of all see plenty colored lines. And then after a while, they start singing the national anthem before somebody will now come and announce the order of programs for the night. They tell you what to expect between 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 and like that. They now tell you how to close. They close by midnight. So the world that you grew up in was structured. There was a lot of structure in that world. Your teenager, on the other hand, is growing up in a world that does not go off. Like you can pretty much wake up at 2 a.m. and 1,000 stations are available for you to connect to on your television. That in itself is a lot of load for a growing mind. So the structure of there was bedtime. No matter what you were doing, no matter what you were feeling, by 12 o'clock, the TV will shut down. In fact, the radio stations went to bed. Today, we have 24 hours radio, we have 24 hours TV, we have the ever live internet. Okay, so there's an abundance of information in your teen's life, and they are forming an identity in that world. The question is, which identity are they now going to pick? When there is one musician from here, there's one famous actor from there, there's another international footballer from there, there's Anthony Joshua from here. There are so many people contending for the attention of that child. That is the pressure of identity formation. But then there's digital saturation, which is connected to what I just said. Constant stimulation. Constant stimulation. You grew up in a world that was devoid of TikTok and Instagram. Today there is Snapchat and all of them in the mix. So when you grew up, if you closed from school, you went home, you went to a playground, you went somewhere to have fun and interact with people. That's your experience. But when in today's world where your teenager is growing up, they don't close from anything. When you were growing up, during graduation from primary school, people used to cry. When you were growing up, in graduation from secondary school, they hug. There's a song they used to sing, God be with you till we meet again. They don't sing that song again because we will meet tomorrow. Because when maybe you went to this boarding school and everybody has graduated, you don't know when you're going to see yourselves again. So people are crying. And so emotions, there was better connectivity, there was better connection. The social cohesion was a lot stronger. Now, nobody is missing anybody because we are in one WhatsApp group. After school, we'll meet ourselves inside the WhatsApp group. So that thing that as simple as it was for your generation is missing from today's generation. So they don't have that kind of structure. I'll just give you two examples. The example number one is how the media used to shut down. Generally, in your time. Today, media is unlimited. Relationships used to take a break. Today, there's no break. We leave school, we go to the WhatsApp group, we are on Snapchat, we are on Instagram, we are on TikTok. So you can sit in Ikorodu and be comparing your life with the life of another teenager that is in Texas, more than 5,000 miles across the earth. That that amount of pressure, and meanwhile, the brain of the average teenager did not change in size. Civilization progressed. The human being and the development of their mental capacity has not changed. That is one of it. How about the emotional overload? How about the emotional overload? When you were younger, a lot of adults were responsible for supervising the level of information that you were exposed to. Your teenager today is processing adult level information with adolescent mindset and adolescent tools and adolescent resources. They're processing adult level information. Your teenager today is sitting somewhere in Gwagwalada and discussing the divorce that happened between Bill Gates and his wife in the United States. The capacity did not change. The capabilities did not change. The resources did not change. The tools did not change. Yet, with the same level of structure and civilization that you grew up with, you are expecting that somehow, by some stroke of chance and magic, that your teenager in 2026 is going to develop a certain kind of maturity to deal with today's world with the same resources that was available to you in your time. It is not going to happen. It's like asking you today to go back and start driving that Volkswagen Beetle that was the in thing in 1985, or the Peugeot 504 that used to be the official car of the president in 1987. That is not, if these examples I've given, not even near reality of the situation, but it just helps you to see what the difference in the generational gap, the pressure that your teenager is under. I'm trying to run fast now. So there's also the cultural confusion. The cultural confusion is when you grew up, you were only aware of your immediate environment and the culture that exists in that immediate environment. You were only aware, for instance, of maybe you grew up in Lagos, maybe you grew up in Eastern Nigeria, Enugu, or you grew up in Kano State. All right. You were only aware of the cultures that were available within the confines of that environment where you were growing up. By extension, maybe by some stretch, you were aware of the culture, the religious culture around you, your church, your place of worship, mosque, whatever it is. That was your exposure culturally. Fast forward 2026, your teenager is culturally exposed to every culture on the globe. They can sit on one spot and be influenced by Christianity, Islam, Hindu, whatever religion, atheism, everything. They have access to it and they are exposed to that. When you were growing up, you knew only your pastor and your church congregation. Today, your teenager is exposed to every human being that has access to a microphone and a ring light and camera and can preach. Your teenager is exposed to that person. And so, whatever you are saying in your house has 1,000 other voices competing with it. That is the reality of today's teenager. Whatever you are saying in the comfort of your home, when you were growing up, your father could afford to get away with do it because I said so. You can't get away with it now. You can't get away with it now. You're talking, the video is talking, one politician somewhere is talking, one pastor somewhere is talking. In fact, 5,000 pastors can be talking to your child in that their device at once. That is the level of cultural, and all of that creates confusion. Remember, like I said, the mental capacity of the teenager is still adolescent. So they are receiving all of these mixed messages about truth, mixed messages about values and values, mixed messages about sex, mixed messages about money, success, purpose. every kind of topic you can think of. The way I say it, I say that this generation is blessed with an abundance of information, but that abundance of information is both a blessing and a burden. That abundance is both a blessing and a burden. So, what often looks like rebellion to you as a parent is actually a reaction to overload. It's a reaction to overload. I don't know what your favorite pet is, whether it's a dog or a cat or whatever it is. You now carry that innocent animal and feed it with alcohol. It is its owner, not because it intended to, but it is reacting to something that is beyond its capacity to control. Let's move forward. And that is the reason why your instinct as a parent is no longer enough. Your instinct is no longer enough because your instinct assumes a world that is familiar. Your instinct assumes a world that is familiar. You are relying on it because it used to work, or what used to work no longer works. Your teenager is growing in an unfamiliar world. Your instinct is running from familiar experience. You are parenting across a cultural gap, not just an age gap. The difference between you and your parents used to be just age and experience. Now, the difference between you and the child you are raising is age, experience, culture, socialization, and every other thing in the mix. Your instinct is reactionary. What you need is structure. Structure anticipates, instinct reacts. You probably want to write that down. Maybe put it in the comment section or so. If I say something that strikes you, you can drop it in the comment section. Please, I'm encouraging. Let's have a conversation in this place as I go forward. Structure anticipates, instinct reacts. Anticipation is what this season requires. Anticipation is what this season requires. Wisdom is what this season requires. Your teenager is exposed to an abundance of information, but wisdom is lacking in that abundance of information. What they need you to do is to help them sieve through the information and go to wisdom. Help them find wisdom. What you are saying might just be another piece of information added to all the other ones that they have received. They will be a lot more blessed if you will provide them wisdom. So, what is the cost of parenting without structure? The cost of parenting without structure is emotional exhaustion. Everybody is yelling at everybody. Everybody is tired at everybody. Parenting without structure produces repeated conflicts. We'll keep conflicting. I said I've spoken to over 900, maybe over 950, close to 1,000 parents in the course of 2 to 3 weeks. There's no kind of complaint I've not heard. Oh, they are not focusing, they're not paying attention. Oh, he doesn't like his siblings. Oh, they're always quarreling. Oh, there's no kind of complaint I've not heard in the last 3 weeks. That's why we created this session. If you're parenting without structure, you're going to have repeated conflicts at home. You're going to have confusion masquerading as rebellion. Your child is probably not a rebel. They are just confused and they are reacting under all of these pressures that I have described. You're always reacting, you're always correcting, you're always explaining. Yeah, you finish explaining, tomorrow they'll do the same thing. Repeated conflict, the same argument, the same resistance, the same outcomes. The confusion is just too much. Many things they're not rebels, they're not defiant. They are just they're just not they don't have clarity, they're just unclear. And a teenager without clarity will push all the boundaries around them trying to find that clarity. Let's continue. I want to run. We have less than 20 minutes. Indeed, what I have on my slide is a very uncomfortable truth I like to tell parents. You see, love is good, prayer is good, I'm a person of faith. I'm a deeply spiritual person. Love is good. Prayer is good. But love and prayer is not equal to leadership. Love plus prayer is not equal to leadership. Leadership requires that you build structure. And this is where a lot of parents get stuck. Prayer invites divine help, but leadership provides human structure. No matter how much divine help you have, if you do not have human, see the amount of prayer we're praying as a nation in Nigeria. If there is no leadership to create the human structure, we're going nowhere. Without structure, even the most prayerful nations crumble. Without structure, even the most prayerful families will become chaotic. Leadership requires design. I talked about living by design. There's leading by design. Leadership requires design. Leadership requires consistency. Leadership requires boundaries that don't change with emotions. And so I'm going to move on to talk about this part of the conversation that deals with structure. Stay with me the next 20 minutes and let's tidy this up. What the next session I want to talk about is the five actors that every teenager requires. These actors are the ones that will provide the structure for you. There are five of them, and I will explain them one after the other. I'll try and run it quickly so that we can close, and I'll see you tomorrow because there's a whole lot that we can do. But I want to keep it at 1 hour and we'll take the rest of it tomorrow. Number one is that parenting. Families function best as systems, not emotions. Your parenting must transcend emotions to systematic parenting. That's what we call intentional parenting. Your parenting must transcend emotions and become systems driven parenting. But let's run. The first actor number one is the teacher. Let me pause and make a statement here. Let me pause and make a statement here in creating systems for your parenting. The statement I want to make is that your teenager does not require a perfect parent. Your teenager does not need a perfect parent. Is what your teenager needs is a complete system. I said that your parenting must move on and become systems dependent. But I was talking about five actors that your teens need. The first actor is the teacher. So the teacher is the guy that transfers skill, not just information. The role of your teacher is to answer certain questions for your child. How do I study? How do I think? How do I manage time? If you don't find this person in the life of your teenager, something is going to be missing in the life of that young person. And unfortunately, this is very unfortunate. Many parents assume that school can handle this thing I just mentioned here. Skill transfer, knowledge, and wisdom training. Ideally, school should, but the schools we have today, you have to look very well. You have to look very well. You have to have that other eyes of intentionality because your teenager needs training in wisdom. So I see a lot of teenagers go to school and struggle. And maybe at the end of this session, I'm going to share a few testimonials in the WhatsApp group with everybody so you can hear. When we work with teenagers, I see the teenagers that we work with virtually 90% of them report improvement in their academics. Meanwhile, we don't do anything around math and English and all of those subject lessons. The role of the teacher is how do I study? Help the teenager understand how to study, how to think, and how to manage their time. If they can answer those three questions, they will do well academically. How to study, how to think, and how to manage time. If they answer those three questions, they are good. But let's move on to actor number two. Actor number two is my slide is not moving. Actor number two is the mirror. The mirror is the guy that provides feedback without any emotional entanglement. Now, the parents can play this role, but most parents do not. Most parents cannot provide feedback without emotional entanglement. It's about reflecting behavior honestly, without shouting, without shaming the teenager. A lot of parents want to shout, they want to yell, they want to quarrel, they want to shame the teenager. Can you not see your mate? Is that your mate? Do they have five head? Is not your mate that doing this, that? You're shaming the child. You're not providing feedback. Teenagers need to see themselves clearly before they can change. It's back to the identity question that we talked about a few slides before. When this mirror role is not present, your teenager finds that mirror in their peer group. So they begin to take feedback from their friends. And trust me, two foolish people looking for feedback from one another, they are going to get foolish feedback. So their friends will cheer them on instead of pointing them in the direction of discipline and correction. When the role of a mirror is missing, they will turn to their peers to get feedback. And many times the feedback will not be accurate. So they stop growing, they stop aspiring because among their peer group, everybody is fine, we're cool, okay? All you need is one nice pair of jeans and the white sneakers. Oh, cool. But that's the mirror they are seeing. Nobody is putting up a bigger mirror showing them a bigger picture. I did a conversation at the Intentional Parents Annual Conference a few years ago. I think that was last year, and I was talking about the role of role models, role models, role models, role models, role models. And I did a simple exercise in that conversation. I told the parents, ask your teenager to name five celebrity. They will name 25. But ask them to name five business leaders. They are going to struggle. Ask them to name five inventors. They are going to struggle. It's about the fact that we have a problem with this mirror. That we have a mirror problem in this generation. I'm going to run now and talk about um, the builder. So there's a guy who is supposed to build. The builder is the person that creates routines. The builder is the one that creates structures. The builder is the one that helps your teenagers build boundaries around their life. The role of a builder is to answer again three questions. What happens every day? That's routine. Every day. We just finished a course. I think some of you in this group, if you're on this call, we're in that course. We just finished a course for teenagers, and that course was titled Focus Mastery, helping the teenagers build focus. And I'm going to send out the feedback. I'll send it to your WhatsApp group. You're going to see the feedback at the end of 3 days of helping teenagers define what happens every day, what happens every week, and what are the non-negotiable aspects of my life. I don't know if you have ever thought about these questions for your teenager that you are parenting. What happens daily? What happens every week? And what are the non-negotiable aspects of my life? That is the job of a builder. Without a builder, your teenager will live in reaction mode. I don't feel, I'm not in the mood, I'm not in the mood. So you have a teenager that has mood swings. You have a teenager that is unmotivated. You have a teenager that is not excited. When he was younger, he used to be boisterous, and all of a sudden, he turned 12, he turned 13. It's like you don't know him again. He enters that reaction mode. That reaction mode produces anxiety. So he's always anxious. Your girl that used to be a sweet little princess has now turned 14, and you can no longer tell who she is. I was speaking to one of the parents. I was speaking to one of the parents. They raised the girl abroad, and they came back to Nigeria. and they came back to Nigeria, and the girl became a totally different human being. The mom and the dad say they cannot recognize this person again. That is what happens when the builder is missing. When the builder is missing, that's what you get. The watchman. Did I skip anyone? Let me go back. Okay, so it's the watchman. The role of the watchman. This one sounds very spiritual. But the watchman does three things. He watches the environment, he guards the environment. The watchman guards the environment. Now, that environment is not just physical, you can include spiritual, but listen to me first. That environment is media environment. What are your teenagers watching? Their parents. What are your who is influencing your teenager? Who is influencing your teenager? A parent came to my office a few days ago and told me that she does not understand. Two of both parents, dad and mom, say they don't understand the kind of language that their son is speaking. I say it's simple now. Let's check what he has been watching and the music he has been listening to. That's where their language comes from. So the role of the watchman is to pay attention to the media, the influence. I just talk about role models in the mirror, the actor called Mirror, the actor number three, I guess, or number two, the mirror guy, the conversations that they are having, the digital access that they have. It's always a fight. Don't give your teenagers phone. They don't have the mental capabilities to handle the complexities of the digital world. They don't. Many parents try to correct behavior after damage has already been done, and that is always problematic. It is also more expensive. If you come to my office and we check, we depending on how much damage has been done, we'll give you the bill. But a watchman prevents problems before they even come or before they form. And so this is not as spiritual as the name sounds. Think about it. Because there is a spiritual actor. Actor number five is the spiritual guy, is the spiritual voice. That's actor number five, is the spiritual voice. The role of the spiritual voice is to provide alignment, discernment, and direction. Please, thank you. I see Mrs. Felicia, I guess that's your name, is typing in the comment section. Help me put that. Anybody, write that in the comment section. The role of the spiritual voice is to provide alignment, discernment, and direction. Who am I? The question of identity. Why do I exist? The question of purpose. What anchors me when culture is shifting? Follow our YouTube channel. There is a video. The first video you will find on our YouTube channel is how to raise culture shifters. It was my session at the Intentional Parent Annual Conference 2025. How to raise culture shifters. The role of the spiritual voice is to help your teenager find an anchor when culture is shifting. Culture is constantly shifting. What was trending yesterday is not that trending today. What was news yesterday is not that news today. Without the voice, the spiritual voice, your teenager will borrow identity from any of the loudest sources that is available to them. So when any of these roles are missing, behavior will compensate for it. And you, as the parent, will pay the price. You pay the price emotionally, financially, the teenager will pay the price in their destiny. When any of these five actors are missing in the life of your teenager, the price will be paid by you. The teenager will pay the price. Their own date is more expensive because they'll pay it in destiny. You pay it in emotions and finances. Let's go on. I think there's one more thing we can do. One more session. The sessions are cascaded like that. So wherever we get to, we stop and I'll continue tomorrow. What Why parents can't be everything to their teenagers. So I listed these five actors to show you what I'm about to say next is that you cannot be everything to your teenager. In fact, my mentor, Coach Wendy Ologe, used to say, and it has been proven to be true, that by the time your child becomes a teenager, you are no longer the most influential person in their lives. You can argue it from now till the end of this age. By the time your child becomes a teenager, you're not the most influential person in their life. Yeah, your influence goes down to number four. The most influential people in their lives become their friends, become other adults, and the media. So when you are talking, they are checking everything you are saying. They are filtering it. They are filtering it with the lens of, will my friends approve of this one? They are filtering it with Davido approve of this one. They are filtering it, will Pastor Mike approve of this one? They are filtering it with other adults, with their peer groups, and with the media. And so, if you did not take care of the first part we discussed in session two, this part is going to become a problem. The authority figure, the authority fatigue. The authority fatigue is one of the reasons why your voice as a parent has reduced because you are too close, you are too emotional, and you are too constant. They see you every day. Those three things is what creates the authority fatigue. You're too close, you're too constant, you're too emotional. You're too emotionally involved. That's what I mean. And over time, the voice becomes too familiar. Yes, there's such a thing as familiarity in leadership. Familiar voices lose impact, not because you are wrong, but because of the ever present voice that you are. So you need unfamiliar voices. You need those new, there's something about the human nature that appreciates the new. So you need to be constantly seeking out for new influences that align with what you want. That's what it means to be an intentional parent. I tell parents that you cannot choose your you can influence the environment from where they choose. You have that much power. Is that not what they do to us in politics? The most powerful people in politics are those who choose the people that we can now vote. So they choose the three people. They now give you can vote this, or this. Now your choices have been decided first. Anyone you choose is fine. So you can take that position as a parent. You can't choose the friends who they vote for as their friend, but you can take yourself higher and influence the circle from where they pick their friends. Hello, Mrs. Ndulue. Good evening. I see you. Thank you for joining us. So that's authority fatigue. The other reason why your voice as a parent is declining is emotional entanglement. I said it a few minutes ago. Your correction now feels like a personal attack. See, if you say the same thing to your child, and I say the same thing to your child, I can guarantee you with more certainty that they are going to feel something about what I said more than they felt with the one you said. Not because you are wrong, not because you are bad, but because your voice has now become very familiar. Again, it is natural in human experience that we like to impress people we are meeting for the first time. All of us behave well outside than when we behave inside, which is not a very good report card. Maturity is that you learn to develop your identity and relationship capacity such that who you are with your family is who you are with outsiders. But at that level of maturity, Correction feels personal when it's coming from you. But when it's coming from somebody who does not have any stake, they learn to listen. So when you correct, they feel that you are judging them. When you resist their approaches, they feel that you are disrespecting. And this is the one a lot of parents don't like to hear. You don't like to hear that your teenager thinks you are disrespecting them. Hey, who are you? They are humans. They deserve respect. So this emotional loop is what makes growth harder and the relationship not as easy as it should be. Why teenagers resist their parents? This one is interesting, but I've talked about it. Familiar authority, identity separation, and a developmental necessity. See, the part of developmental necessity will require some time to explain. But resistance is not always rebellion. I wrote a book. I don't have a copy of it in this part. I don't have it here. I might have to. Uncle Joshua, if you're on this call, please ask someone to get me a copy of Why Teenagers Fail. I wrote a book titled Why Teenagers Fail. Why Teenagers Fail. I wrote it for teenagers. It's not for parents, but you can take a look at it. I'm sure somebody on this call has that book. Why Teenagers Fail. And in that book, either in chapter 2 of it or chapter 3, I was discussing the crisis of autonomy, which is so there are two related crises: autonomy crisis and authority crisis. They are recorded in that book, and you can pick it up to say that at a point, it is a necessary ingredient of growth that your teenager will resist you. Is necessary. Is necessary. It is very necessary to the point that Jesus Christ resisted his earthly mother at some point. That day when they were looking for Jesus and they went and found him in one temple where he was talking with other adults. Remember, I talked about the influence of other adults in the life of your teenager. They picked up Jesus and Jesus asked the mother a question. He said, "Do you not know that I should be about my father's business?" The guy that was talking is 12 years old. If your 12-year-old asks you that question, you will give him backhand. But that's the question that 12-year-old Jesus asked his mother. Say, why are you looking for me? Did you not know that I will be about? This is a 12-year-old boy that they have been looking for 2 days. They found him. He was asking his mother, did you not know that I should be about? It is a necessary ingredient of the development of your teenager that at some point they're going to say no to you. And you have to be fine with it. But a lot of parents are not fine. It is natural. A lot of us are not fine with hearing no as an answer, especially when it's coming from somebody you change pampers for. I carried you in my womb for 9 months. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is necessary. You did it. They will do it. It's natural. They are not going to find their identity. Go and get my book, Why Teenagers Fail. Your teenager is not going to find their identity. They're not going to find the reality of their essence and who they are if they don't at some point break that un invisible umbilical cord between parent and child. That is what I call developmental necessity as part of the reason your teenager resists you as a parent. Let's now answer the question, why do they listen to other adults? Why do they listen to other figures? Is because there is neutral authority, there's external structure, and there's a safe distance. There's a safe distance. That's why your teenager will resist you and prefer to listen to one guy on the internet. And so, like I said, while you cannot choose all of those relationships, you can influence where they pick those relationships from. That is your role as a parent of a teenager. Mentors provide neutral authority. Mentors provide structure. structure without any kind of emotional history. So I don't have an emotional history with your teenager, but I create that structure. They are more willing and open to listen to it. Mentors provide guidance without family baggage, and teens learn to listen to truth better when it doesn't feel like control. So when I'm talking to your teenager, I'd me control you. I'm not interested. All right. Mrs. Ndulu is on this call. She can bear witness to what I'm talking about. She can bear witness to what I'm talking about. It makes your parenting easier when you have other voices that are aligned with your value system, helping you in your parenting journey. I think let me see if I can. This last slide is so you find the mentor mentee relationship even across the Bible. You find that every Moses has a Joshua, every Elijah has an Elisha, and every Jesus has the 12 disciples. I can go on and on. The Apostle Paul had Timothy. Meanwhile, Timothy had a very religious mother. No, Timothy had a very religious mother. Thank you very much. So they got me a copy of the book. This is the book, Why Teenagers Fail. We're going to talk to you about it in the WhatsApp group. You can lay hold of it and share it with your teenagers. So the idea of mentorship and the idea of young people listening to other adults is not new. God has always used the system of guidance from other adults to back up parenting. So there's no such thing as solo parenting. Delegation is wisdom. So getting other people to help you on your journey of parenting is wisdom, is not failure as a parent. So parents are foundational, but that foundation is not sufficient for adolescents. It's like you want to build your duplex and you build foundation and stop. You have done a very fantastic job, but we need columns, we need beams, we need other things to raise this building into an edifice. Hi, Omolola from Lagos. I see you. Thank you for joining us. Those of you that are joining in late, I hope that you get the chance to catch a replay. That's why I'm going to stop here and we will continue. If you have any question, please drop it in this chat. But after this call, you can drop your questions in the WhatsApp group. I'll be there for the next 1 or 2 hours before I retire for tonight, answering all your questions. And tomorrow, we will get into session 4, reading your teenagers correctly and what you can do with that information. So tomorrow I'm going to show you how your teenager's behavior is data, and you're going to become a data scientist. You're going to become a parenting data scientist tomorrow. I'm going to show you that your teenager's behavior is data and not defiance. And we'll keep it again like today under 1 hour so that you can grasp all of it. And for those who want to catch a replay, it will not be so long for them as well. Thank you very much for joining me. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can feel free to drop it right here on the call. But if I don't see questions in the next 2 to 3 minutes, I will round up the conversation and I will end the session. Thank you. Thank you. I see all of you who have joined. I may not have been able to call everybody by name, but I see you in the comment section. Thank you. Please drop a like for this particular session, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. That's very, very important to us. That's how you can tell us thank you. This session is free. Um, this session is free, but I always say that whatever is free has cost a lot on the back end. So do us a favor, like this video, subscribe to it. It's not available to the public anyways. So after today, it may not be available to every other person. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you at exactly 7 p.m. tomorrow. I will be on the call. God bless you and have a very beautiful night. Bye-bye.